We're in chapter 2 now. Now, we kind of hurried over the 7 churches. They're mentioned in chapter 1, verse 4. They're mentioned again in chapter 1, verse 11 by, 7 churches in 4, and then the names of them in verse 11. But now, they're so important, Jesus actually visits each one of them. And now this is what's fascinating. Jesus writes a postcard. Jesus writes a letter to each church. It's the most unique part of the Bible. I mean, all the Bible, should be in red because Peter said that even the Old Testament was the Spirit of Christ. Peter actually said that. Peter said the Old Testament prophets, Moses, Samuel, those are writing down, David, Daniel, all those people, it was the Spirit of Christ inside of them that was speaking. So actually the whole Bible should be in red, not just part of the Gospels. But all the scriptures are Jesus speaking, but Jesus only wrote letters to 7 churches. And we get to go through each of those letters. Those are the most precious letters ever written, okay? And so what we're going to look at is what Jesus says in chapter 2, 1 to 7. And he tells the Ephesians, keep focused on Jesus always as first. Now watch this. Here's my shelf. Here's my phone. And this shelf is where Jesus is supposed to be. He's supposed to be up here as first, highest, supreme in our lives. Do you know what we do? We don't put other things, get rid of him and put other things on the shelf and replace him. Do you know what Christians do nowadays? Here's Jesus on the top shelf. We just put other things as equal with him. Now look, I put my phone there. Did you know most people your age really would look on reading the Bible and catching up with whatever, or listening to whatever, or communicating with whatever, all is basically important. Really, to be honest. Because I spend time with young people all the time, and their big struggle is not getting rid of Jesus, but everything else is at the same level as Jesus. That's why they have trouble finding time to read the Bible, pray, memorize, go on outreach visitation, because everything is important. Keeping up their social life and their health life and their financial life and their entertainment life and their whatever life and their Jesus life. It's all up here. And you know what? That's exactly what was going on. It's not new. And Jesus said, you have left me being on the top shelf. Okay. The book of Revelation has 7 clear events. We know where we are. We're here. We know where we're headed. And because we know his plan, we have hope. Now, Bonnie and I had 8 wonderful children. They all got her good looks, her personality, her intellect. I mean, my kids have won so many scholarships, and they excel in everything. People always say, well, what did they get from you? I said, the sin nature. Think about it. That is what they got from me. They're vicious, selfish, wicked sinners at birth. Once I tried to take the rattle away from them, and they hit me with it, As a tiny child, they were so angry that I would take the rattle out of their hand. They were born that way, so was I. But I know what the Lord's plan is, and I know, since he bought me, where I'm headed, so I have hope that he's going to get me through the challenges of life. So my question, I'm not doing this for any other reason than us sitting here. By the way, Bonnie and I are full-time missionaries, just like many of you are going to be. We raise support, just like many of you are going to for your missions trips and maybe for the rest of your life. Bonnie and I serve local churches. We have a board that oversees us. We have people that pray for us. And the reason we do all that, again, in real estate. I was doing the turn 1,000 into 1 million in real estate, and when I was 16 years old, I bought my first house and mortgaged it for more than I paid for it and bought another one, and I was just going to be the millionaire. This is in the 70s, a long time ago. But when God saved me, I said, no, I'm going to spend the rest of my life serving you, and I surrendered to be a missionary, and I resisted it and went into real estate, and then I became what we are today, a missionary. The reason I tell you that is our mission is to speak to the next generation. We do this all over the world. We speak to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds like you at Word of Life and other places. I spend 13 weeks with Word of Life. The reason we're here is this question. I'm not asking anybody else except you. Are you focused on Jesus as always being first in your life? Do you even know what that means? Have you learned how to do that on a daily basis? We all need to be reset, focusing back on Jesus. When I was a pastor, we had a group called Life Action. I don't know if they're still around, but they would come and travel. They had a musical team and a speaker. But the best part of their whole presentation was, before the service started, they would put pieces of chalk all the way across the front platform, hundreds and hundreds of pieces of chalk, basically however many people were in the service. And so when they came to Calvary, we had, 1,500, 1,200 in the service. They put 1,200 pieces of chalk across there each service. And I thought, this is curious. What are we going to do with the chalk? When they got all done with their whole thing, the speaker got up and he said, I want you to take your chalk, and he said, I want you to draw a circle in the parking lot before you get in your car. I want you to stand in that circle, and I want you to surrender to the Lord and say, I want to do what Matthew 6:33 says. I want to seek first your kingdom in my life today. Tomorrow's gone. Don't know if we're going to have, yesterday's gone. Don't know if I'm going to have tomorrow. Today. And he said that, and he pointed at the chalk, and people all rushed forward, and some people got a handful and passed them out to their family and everything. As the pastor, of course, you know what pastors do. You're the last one out of the building. I sent Bonnie home and the kids home, and I shut everything up, made sure everything was locked, and finished all the stuff on my desk. I was waiting. I couldn't wait to see the parking lot. When I walked out the door, it was enough to make me cry. Everywhere. We have like 5 acres of parking lot in that building, that complex. It was just circle, circle, circle. You could see the outline of cars. Entire families. They had all drawn a circle and stood, even little circles all the way around. And I thought, that is one of the most, what a great idea. You can't do it all the time. It's expensive to give out chalk. But people need a graphic, visual, personal response. So my question to you, and this whole hour, I'm going to keep coming back at this. This arrow is pointing to Ephesus. It's on the southwest corner of modern-day Turkey. It's still there. It's a tourist site now. But to that group of people, Jesus said, are you going to focus on Jesus always as first in your life?